And so I wake in the morning and I step outside. I take a deep breath and I get real high. And I scream from the top of my lungs. We need to talk. Yes, we're back for another edition of We Need to Talk, where we, the Bashers, are here to talk about the biggest gaming events in the world. And
when we choose to.
When we choose to. And yes, this time I have signaled the beacons and gathered the four of us to discuss Geoff Keighley's Game Awards 2022. Hans.
Yes, Nick.
IY.
Did not win a Steam Deck.
Alex.
No Silk Song.
Oh, you sounded very sad there.
Because it's...
He is? What do you mean?
Yeah. There's no Silk Song, man.
Yep. So, the Game Awards, for those not in the know, is Geoff Keighley. He has been a long time person in the game industry. Typically, I think he was started at like G4, like Attack the Show and stuff like that. And then since kind of have spun off and created his own sort of company, I think would be the best. Like, started as like this award show and then is now doing his own like E3 thing with Summer Game Fest. And I believe this is the 10th edition of the Game Awards.
I remember like when this used to be like when I say shot in his basement, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but like the production value and like the venues in which they shoot at has drastically improved.
Oh yeah, like 100%. And like even I think it's only really been to like the last maybe 4 or 5 years of it where it's become probably a lot more about the world premieres and the announcements rather than the awards themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
it's, but and we'll maybe get into this later. But like, fuck me, they went at a breakneck pace because of all the announcements and stuff.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things that this has tended to go a lot longer. Like, I think last year's was like 4 hours long. Because I think pretty much for every award they had someone come and collect it and do a speech. Whereas like kind of this time for a lot of them, they just had Geoff announce it and then move on. But this one was a swelt 3 hours, I think. It was scheduled for 2.5, but obviously live productions happen and things overrun.
Christopher Judge happened.
That speech happened, yeah.
Yep. So before we get into the main show itself, my first note I have. IY, what did you have to eat before the Game Awards?
I think I find this during the Game Awards. All right.
Sorry,
some context.
You told me before it started.
Oh yeah. I had it ready there, right? So so I thought, Hans, right, that it's all pretty late for us, right? It's like 12:30, 1 in the morning, and you know me, I like to eat, right? Like it's going even later, so I was like, shit, I need a snack. And what did I decide, right? I was like, I got some smoked salmon in the fridge, right? So I whipped out a bread bun, some smoked salmon, bit of salad because you need some green, and a couple of clementines.
Bear in mind, this is at midnight.
Hey man, and we're gonna be there for a few hours, right? A guy's got to eat, right? I know you guys run on, good intentions and Silk Song's definitely gonna come out, but like, I'm a realist. I just need some food, right?
Alex is fueled by a hope and a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is why I'm not very energetic very often. Let's be honest.
If there was an award for best snack, that would not even be in the shortlist.
Well, it would if we were pulling the four of us.
By default, it has to be the shortlist.
Hey, look, guys. It's my last few days in London. I got to eat through my fridge, right?
That is fair, yes. But the first award I actually have it noted here, and the first note overall, best mobile game.
Marvel Snap.
It was Marvel Snap. Marvel Snap's pretty great. Yep.
Yeah, you know what? It's great, but I think what's more interesting to talk about are the other games that are actually on that list.
I can't even remember what the other...
Diablo Immortal, hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Oh, yeah.
Diablo Immortal. Yeah.
That was the real one that I was like, should this be here? Like, at all?
Look, at the end of the day, it plays fine. It is just predatory as fuck.
Like, I guess
you don't want to spend $100,000 and get like the best stuff in it.
Hey, I played that game for like 5 hours, had fun, didn't spend a penny. Other people might not have the same experience. Other people might want to have all the best gear and all the best cosmetics. I am not one of those people.
I guess mobile games do have a reputation for microtransactions, right? So I guess in that regard, it is in fact one of the best mobile games. It really
I mean, that is true.
Nails that part really well.
If it was a publisher voted thing, I think Diablo Immortal would win.
The first game announcement on this half-hour pre-show, though, that I think is worth talking about. We get the not full reveal, but the full announcement of the Valiant Hearts sequel, Valiant Hearts Coming Home, releasing on...
was it? I thought this was the mobile version. Like a mobile Valiant game.
No, this is the sequel. It is just only releasing on mobile. Next up, we got the announcement that Returnal is coming to PC. Another of PlayStation's exclusives slowly making their way onto PC, following the likes of Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Uncharted, Days Gone.
Nick, you had more of an interest in Returnal than I did when it was coming out in PS5. Will this push you to play it eventually?
So I played a bit of Returnal when I was trying out the PlayStation Plus library stuff.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's very pretty, I will say. It is incredibly pretty. But I kind of got my fill of it. It's...
How long? Wait, when you say you got your fill, how much time did you put into it?
5-6 hours.
And you could have spent 70 quid on that.
But then it is a roguelike.
Hans, please. He can still spend 70 quid on that when it comes to PC.
It's a roguelike, so I just kind of felt like, I died a couple of times to a boss, and I was like, I'm good. I've enjoyed what I played, and I haven't paid for this. So
I don't think those were your words. If you died several times to the same boss.
Why do you like Dark Souls games then?
Hey, I'm not saying Returnal is a bad game. I do like Dark Souls games, and I liked Returnal, but just not enough to, keep going.
Persevere.
I think my issue with Returnal was I kind of just felt like I wasn't seeing, and it's probably 100% a skill issue. I just felt like I wasn't seeing enough new stuff to keep me hooked. We get an announcement about It Takes Two. You can buy the Elephant Queen plushie and decapitate it or tear it apart
I
at your leisure.
I love the fact that the ear is magnetized so you can rip the ear off. That is
fantastic.
Genius. They get their audience.
What a great piece of merch.
That is. I wish I had a kid so I could buy them that and then rip the ear off in front of them.
Whoa.
Wow, Hans, Jesus.
We get a trailer for Viewfinder, which is a new game which I thought looked very similar to Superliminal, like a game where you can kind of shift the perspective of objects and then makes it changes their actual physical size. I thought the trailer for this looked very fucking trippy, with putting pictures in the right place, and then suddenly when you changed your camera angle, the whole picture was actually in the scene and things like that. Just thought that was a really cool trailer to point out. Next up, I think now we're into the proper show itself. So after the half-hour pre-show, we get a new trailer for Street Fighter 6, showing off a returning DJ and 3 whole brand new characters.
Oh wait, sorry. Can I jump in? I think you skipped past something I wanted to talk about.
Oh yes, go ahead.
The Hellboy game.
There was this was all right looking.
So the one thing I loved about it was actually the art style. I think they have captured the style of the comics fantastically. It looks identical to how the comics were kind of done and shaded and stuff. But I have no honest to God clue what the fuck that game is. I kind of thought it was a Telltale game to begin with.
That's what we said. We said that.
It looked but then it kind of looked like it was maybe more like a Sifu brawler, one-on-one fighter thing. I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up because I thought it looked amazing. I think it captured the style of the comics literally perfect.
But yes, in terms of Street Fighter 6, we also got the release date confirmed for June the 2nd. I know you're excited for Street Fighter. What is your thoughts?
I'm just glad it's not in February.
Yes, we and you were talking beforehand. Capcom has a history of releasing their games fairly early in the year for their fighting games anyway. So to see it middle of the year was a bit of a pleasant surprise because February is already packed with games.
Yeah, but it's what you kind of expected from the trailer, just showing off some dudes. But yeah, I think what's nice is just knowing that they seem to be taking their time with it. And I think a lot of games these days that we buy, needs a little bit more time in the oven.
I was like, the one thing I'm noticing about Street Fighter 6 is there definitely seems like a lot more new characters compared to like I don't remember in like the build up to 5 there being this brand new characters. Like they've already shown off like what is it now 7 or I think it's about 6 or 7 new characters.
The last time they had this many new characters was probably Third
3.
Strike. Yeah, that's Third Strike, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like obviously I know this is now the first one that takes place post Street Fighter 3 in the canon. So I'm assuming maybe that has something to do with it. But I just thought I would have thought they'd put maybe more focus on the existing characters because they have obviously marketing pool and they are recognizable characters. But I definitely feel like the more I see of it, the more I only really see new characters in it.
I think the thing I'm kind of disappointed about is just like I feel like Street Fighter, because it's had so many characters in the past. There's a lot of like I think the coolest thing about something like this is what is the redesign, right? Like of existing characters. And the thing I'm kind of disappointed with is I feel like that now that we're going to the future, it's like now would be a good time to bring what was a younger character into this new age, right? Where Ryu's an old man. Still built like a fucking tank, but but then you'd have like Sakura or someone, or Ibuki or whatever, and you can see them as older characters, right? And it's like, oh shit, we're actually evolving. But now it's just like, we gave Ryu a beard.
A beard.
Which don't get me wrong, it's
a beard and a cloak.
Yeah, right. But no, it's cool. I'm looking forward to
it. We got the award for best performance awarded to Christopher Judge for his portrayal of Kratos.
Absolutely deserves it.
Oh yes, 100%. Out of all the ones that were there, I think he's probably who I would have liked to see win. I
also love that Ragnarok got nominated twice in the same category as well. It's hilarious, but yeah.
What I did not like was his very long acceptance speech.
Did you see for the tweet out that he actually had to cut the speech short?
Fuck off.
And he finished the speech in the tweet, yeah?
Fuck's sake. Yeah, so, like, they generally were short speeches, I think, overall. I think especially mainly because of how long this one. I think someone said, like, his acceptance speech was pretty much about 10 minutes, so... And, like, fair play, he had people he wanted to thank. He had... Obviously, it meant a lot to him. But at a point, like, you should say to anyone who's nominated, look, you have X number of minutes for your speech, be prepared.
They normally do. Like, I have a very loose understanding of how these production shows are, like, produced from a backstage. Like, they normally do, whenever they email out candidates, like, they said, like, because the way some of them go up, like, oh, I don't have a speech prepared, I never thought I was going to win it. Like, when they email the short list of candidates, the email says, like, congratulations, you have been nominated for such and such. And then it goes on to say, like, keep speeches to roughly a such and such, like, length. Like, that is a part of the lettering process. Like, so either he didn't think he was going to win it, and then therefore really did not prepare a speech, or, like, was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to do my thing.
Fantastic suit, though. Fantastic suit.
Okay, but like, can we actually, like, I suppose IY and Alex can't really attest to this, but like, can we talk about him as Kratos? Like, in my opinion, he has taken over the voice of Kratos. Like, I think there was a little bit of, like, I don't know, but like a little bit of controversy, I think, whenever it was announced they were recasting Kratos' voice actor for the reboot. But like, to me, he is Kratos. Like, that voice is Kratos.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like,
I like his performance, especially in Ragnarok, but also in the original one. It's probably because Ragnarok's more fresh in my head, but like, his ability to be, at one moment, a stoic, savage killer, and then flip to a emotional, sad father, like, it's fucking unbelievable. Like, the scene in the tent, before the kind of big finale in God of War Ragnarok is so heartbreaking in a way. And yeah, like fuck me, he so deserves that award. He really does.
Like, I wouldn't have been sad to see it go to him or I think it's Sonny. Is that the guy
Sonny
who plays
Sujic?
yeah, who plays Atreus. Like, I think both of them absolutely fucking knock it out of the park in Ragnarok. Next up, we get the announcement trailer for Hades 2, a sequel to Supergiant Games' roguelike, starring a brand new protagonist who is hunting down the Titan Kronos, and it is coming in 2023, due to come in 2023, launching in early access.
You know who also hunted down Kronos?
Kratos.
Kratos.
Yes. So I feel like, Alex is obviously spooging his pants about this, but I feel like there's been a lot of trepidation between IY and myself, and potentially you, Hans. Does Hades need a sequel?
I don't care.
So,
IY, does Hades need a sequel?
Like, I don't think it needs a sequel, but yeah,
Did you want a Hades sequel,
no, because
Alex?
No.
As Hades, a big fan of Hades, did you want a Hades sequel?
it's not that I want a Hades sequel, it's that I need a Hades sequel.
I just like, so this is the first sequel Supergiant has ever done. Typically they put out their games and that is kind of it. Like, I don't think any of their games have ever really gotten any major post-launch content.
No.
So to see them come out and do a sequel to Hades is either one of two things. Like, we chatted about it during the show when we were watching it. Like, part of me thinks Supergiant is now just at that size of studio that maybe they just have a bunch of newer developers who they want to let loose on the engine, let them do stuff and let them work away, while maybe some of the more senior ones can move on to what the next new thing from Supergiant is, and then doing a sequel to Hades is their way of doing that. Or is it a case that Hades was so successful and so big that this was the only reasonable next thing to do for the studio?
So the cynic of me, right? So I believe Hades is Supergiant's probably most commercially successful.
Oh, I
I would 100% say yeah.
Yeah.
I'd also
The
say probably
cynic-
it's their most critically successful game.
The cynic in me is like, because like all their games were quite well received. You know that, like, you know, Bastion, the one that I don't like, and Hades, all very well received.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Which one do you not like?
the one with the talking sword, I did not like that one.
Oh. What about Pyre?
I've only ever played Pyre.
It's the sports game.
What is the one with the talking sword?
Transistor.
Transistor, yeah, that one. So they're all quite like well received. But like Hades was the first one that kind of, I suppose, blew up. Like, you know, was like Game of the Year nominee and stuff like that. Did it even maybe win it? No?
It probably won one or two Game of the Year places. It didn't win this Game of the Year, but yes,
so like the fact
sure it won
that they are
somewhere.
doing a sequel immediately after, like, there's no, like, I like, this wouldn't have bothered me or made me as cynical as much as like maybe there was a game or two in between. But the fact that they did this immediately after Hades, the cynic in me is just like, they're just riding that cash wave a little bit.
Gotta keep the lights on, man.
Like I definitely feel like this came out of nowhere. Like, I don't think there was any.
Yeah.
I don't think if you'd asked anyone what Supergiant were going to go on to next or what their next thing would be, I don't think anyone would have said a sequel to Hades, knowing
You
the
gotta
history
give
of
it
the
to them
studio.
though. They know how to surprise you.
Well. But I would argue, right, that like there's a difference between like, because they gave us like a new game, we'd be like, shit, what's this about? Right? We would have like a discussion about it, but like,
There's the intrigue.
yeah, right. But because it was just straight up, oh, we're just doing the sequel. It's like, oh, really? Question mark? Like, and that's kind of it.
I am looking forward to seeing all the new characters and stuff.
Like, I am disappointed because I think one thing that Supergiant does is creates really interesting worlds. You know,
Yeah.
from Bastion
Exactly.
to Transistor to Pyre. Hades is obviously, you know, it's the Greek pantheon and all, but like, it's still an interesting prospect. You know, that's the thing. So I'm kind of disappointed we're not getting them to see them create another new world that a game's set in.
I would have loved to have just like, you know, we just follow the God of War hype train. Just like, yo, it's Odin now instead of Hades. Instead, we're doing this other story, but it's the same kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's just a bit odd.
What's next, Nick?
So next up, we got our first look at Judas, the new game from Ken Levine. He is the creative director behind the BioShock trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
This looked like BioShock, but
Yeah, more
Fuck me, it also
cybernetic.
looked really cool, I will say. I really fucking liked how this looked. I adore Bioshock Infinite, so I am very happy to finally see what Ken Levine is doing next.
Yeah, like I wasn't a massive fan of the first two, but I loved Bioshock Infinite. Yeah, this looks like Bioshock with a cybernetic twist, maybe more towards the sci-fi side. Looks cool. Looks like more Bioshock. Not a bad thing.
We got the award for Best Debut Indie Game, won by Stray.
We played Stray, Nick.
Yes.
It was only available on PS or on PlayStation, yeah?
You could buy it as well, like...
Oh, so it was only... It was free? It was just free on PlayStation?
Yeah, it was just free as part of the PlayStation Plus catalog, yes. But you can still go buy it yourself, yes. Yes, it was available on other platforms. I believe it was also available. It was also available on PC. I don't think it was on Xbox.
Did either of Alex or I play it, guys?
No.
Okay. Nick, what did you think of Stray?
I really like Stray. Stray is one of the few games I think in the last few years that I came away with actually wishing it was longer. And I wish they'd kind of done more with it. But in terms of what was there and what was able to play, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a fun thing you can knock out in a day or two. You said it was maybe could be longer. I felt like it was the perfect length. Yeah, I think it won 2 awards the night, so independent game and debut indie game. Yes. Well deserved. I really liked it. Yes, it got kind of the memes just for being the cat game, but the actual gameplay and the world and all was really fun and charming. It was a really, really nice game.
We get a new trailer for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That reveals that Batman is in the game, voiced by Kevin Conroy, likely his final role as Batman after his unfortunate death earlier this year. This is still, as far as I'm aware, set in the Arkham universe. I don't know whether this implies that this is now set pre-Arkham Knight, or if this is the reveal that Batman survived the events of Arkham Knight.
So I was reading a theory that since his eyes glow blue in the trailer, that he's being controlled by is a Brainiac.
Yeah. Well, I think that is implied to be happening to the entirety of the Justice League.
Yeah.
Like, including Flash and Superman that we've seen in previous trailers, that they've all been, like, corrupted or they're being controlled by Brainiac.
Can Brainiac control corpses?
I don't know. I don't think it was actually also in the trailer, but there is now a release date for this. I believe it's like May at some point, 23rd of May, I think. I don't know if this trailer actually had that attached.
So as I said, I kind of watched this kind of in the background. Was this just a story trailer or did they show gameplay?
No, it was just that short clip of them meeting Batman.
Is there actual gameplay of this game yet?
Not like, I think there has been very, very brief gameplay clips of things in trailers, but no, I don't think there's been like anything that resembles a prolonged look at gameplay. I will say, I think someone brought it up in like a comment somewhere that I read, like, I reckon this was probably meant to be like a surprise in the game that Batman is still alive or Batman is in this game, but obviously with Kevin Conroy's death, that they probably felt like they maybe needed to get out there and be like, he's in the game, we want to honor him, thanks for everything. But I reckon, because obviously if this is set post Arkham Knight, Batman being in the game is quite a big reveal to give away in a trailer like this.
True.
But yeah, as I said, this got a release date. I don't think it was actually part of this trailer, because I think the trailer ended with like a "Thank you, Kevin" like title card. But yes, Arkham Knight coming out this year, 23rd of May or something like that.
Just the fact that we are that close, 5 months off of being released and haven't seen any gameplay is just it's a massive red flag to me, I think.
If they are sure they're going to meet that date, fair. Like, release the date now and then like spend the 3 months leading up to the release doing gameplay deep dives, things like that. That's fine with me. The problem is, yes, it was already meant to come out this year. Will it even meet this new date that it has? Next up, we got our first look at the full gameplay, or some gameplay of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the follow-up to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
You're not going to discuss best adaptation, no?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay then.
But yes, Star Wars Jedi, I think Survivor looks very good. Again, it looks like more of that series, but I think we're now 3 years removed from Fallen Order, so I think that's fine. And we get the release date of March 17th, which was, I think, leaked a couple of days beforehand. I think like the Xbox page went up a bit earlier for it and revealed that release date.
The real shame, I really don't like the Jedi games. I want to like it so much, but I played the first one, I think, at the Third World, and was just like, nah, this is not for me. Fucking Dark Souls ruining everything.
Speaking of games abbreviated to DS, Death Stranding 2.
Yeah.
Yes, we got a trailer announcing Death Stranding 2. Well, announcing DS 2. We'll get to
Everyone
that.
just assumed it's Death Stranding.
Yeah, I'm convinced Kojima would do something weird with that, and it doesn't actually mean Death Stranding. But yes, we got a trailer focusing on Lea Seydoux' character from Death Stranding 1, and confirming the return of Norman Reedus. I think you also hear Mads Mikkelsen's voice doing voiceover in that trailer, but his name is not in the credits, so maybe that's just a bit of a bait and switch. Looks like more Death Stranding. Looked as much like Death Stranding as you could do in a Kojima trailer. They're always like fucking bonkers.
Right. Death Stranding.
Yes.
Last time I checked was not actually all that well received. Is that fair to say?
It is a game that I think people are looking back on more fondly than it was first received. Now, because people were going into it with the expectation of this is Kojima. Kojima is known for Metal Gear, and this will be a more action-based game than it was. But I think now with those expectations kind of out of people's mind and being able to look at it without those expectations, I think people are now looking at Death Stranding being like, you know what? It was not for everyone. It was a very, very different game than that has ever been released from anyone. But what it set out to do, it did very well.
See, I think that the first one was commercially successful for the exact reason you said. People bought it being like, oh, it's Kojima, it'll be like Metal Gear. And then they were like, right, people clearly want this because of how well it did. Let's make a second. And I feel like now that people know what Death Stranding is and whether they know whether they like it or not, the second one financially is not going to do that well.
I would disagree, because even the director's cut, which came out years after the fact, and everyone knew what Death Stranding was, still sold very well.
Then people need to get their heads out of their fucking asses. These games are fucking weird.
What's wrong with weird games?
These are like Kojima needs to have his head checked weird. Like,
man's just out there living his best life. Alright, Alex, what are your opinions on Death Stranding?
I have no opinion.
Why would you ever want to play Death Stranding?
As a joke for Game Club, yeah. but off my own back, probably not.
I just don't want to walk in game.
That's right. So you don't like walking simulators?
I really don't like walking simulators. And it is, yeah.
But also, Nick, just snippet my bit about Game Club there. So whenever I announce it for Game Club, it's foretold.
I gotta say it, I don't think I've ever enjoyed a Kojima game.
That's fair.
Yeah, I can do that.
I really don't think I ever have.
What games has he made?
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear.
Is it only Metal Gear?
Death Stranding.
Within the last 2 decades, yes, it was all Metal Gear.
Yeah, we know how Hans feels about stealth games.
And almost Silent Hill, but yes.
Kojima to me in video games is what Christopher Nolan is to me in films. I just think he's overrated.
Everyone's welcome to their opinion. I think Metal Gear Solid is consistently one of the best series. I think you would be hard pressed to find a game with our series with 5 games in it that are all as, to me, fantastic or incredible as Metal Gear Solid.
I have played and enjoyed Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
And Solid Snake is in that.
He designed Shadow Moses Island stage.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That is technically one of his games.
No, his games are not for everyone. They are weird in ways and not always incredibly accessible, but
I think the thing to note though is I think it's important to have people like that though, right?
Yeah.
Like you need a bit of spice, you know. I just kind of wish it was like, you know, a new spice and not just more Death Stranding.
that's the thing. Like, as much as I think being obviously like everyone was so excited for him to not be shackled to Konami anymore. So to see his first two his obviously Death Stranding was very cool and very nice to see him build a whole new world and story. To see him immediately go back to that and not do something new is maybe a bit especially when it's been confirmed that he's working with Microsoft on stuff. He's working on other things. Like to see him immediately go back to Death Stranding is maybe a bit disappointing. We got a trailer for fighting game number 2, Tekken 8. Again, we talked about this beforehand. Now, I was expecting a release date here, but that did not come. The only thing I have written about this Tekken 8 trailer is the tagline that was "Fist makes fate."
I fucking love it.
Which doesn't make any sense.
I love it
whatsoever. What's the story of Tekken?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Unfortunately,
so I suppose my question would rather be, out of what we have seen now of both Tekken and Street Fighter, like, do you have one you're more excited for as our resident fighting game expert?
So not gonna lie, actually. So purely because I know so much more about it, I'm obviously quite hyped for Street Fighter. That being said, though, whenever I actually started playing Tekken 7, like way later, like in its life, because I think that's one of the big things about, let's call it just competitive multiplayer games, is that if you join like a month like after, unless it's a really big game, the skill level ceiling, it becomes quite high. But I actually thought Tekken was like actually such a good game to like just jump into and to look at, more so than a lot of the let's call it traditional 2D fighters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hyped for Street Fighter, but it's been a long time for Tekken. And so I'm actually, and, as someone who watched the Netflix animation, with the really terrible shadows,
someone who is a real Tekken fan is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's pretty hype, pretty cool. I feel like we didn't really see that much in the grand scheme of things, but
that's maybe what confused me. Is like they made a big deal about like, oh, we're going to show off stuff at the Game Awards. They had like a whole hashtag Save the D8. This was just a trailer. Like, they didn't really show anything that was worth hyping. Like, if this was just another trailer in the show, I think it would have been just as impactful.
So, something I was thinking about today, actually, was that if you were to show me, say, Street Fighter, right? I'm like, shit, look at Ryu's feet, right? And you're like, oh, I know that guy, right? Or if you show, right? Or if you show me, Soul Bad Guy, I'm like, damn, he is thick now, right? But if you show me Tekken, it's like, wait, is that Jin? Is that Kazuya?
Yeah.
Like, is that, and I don't really have that kind of like affinity towards any one character in Tekken, even though it has like a huge roster, right? Like literally, like my biggest affinity in Tekken is literally Akuma and Noctis, right?
neither of whom are
actually Tekken characters. So I will say this: looking forward to the S characters.
We get an award for Games for Impact was the name of the award. I think it is implying that it's games that have a
emotional,
a greater message and things like that, and like they're not just games for gaming's sake. They are games that try to spread a positive message and raise awareness for different things. Won by As Dusk Falls, the favorite game of the Bash Bros.
What? This is right. So.
What? No, Hans, don't say what impact. What positive impact did As Dusk Falls? It had plenty of negative impact on
the thing.
I have an answer, guys. The positive impact is it pushes you to forgive your wife for cheating on you.
Is that it? Is it
because you don't necessarily need to forgive her?
We did, so that was the positive impact it had on us.
Because it's not right. Because it's not about suicide awareness. Because the father kills himself. And is pretty much driven to and this is the thing, like, because there's so many like
choices.
There's so many choices, like, it could be about like, forgiving a relationship. It could be about
Hans. The positive impact is you shouldn't hold up a motel because it's only going to end really badly and spiral into weirdness.
I don't understand how this game won. I just don't. I get the award. I think it's a good award. I don't get how this game was even nominated.
We get a trailer for Baldur's Gate 3 with the announcement that it'll be leaving early access and have its full release this coming August.
Before the title dropped, I thought this was the new Dragon Age.
Oh no, I knew exactly. But as soon as the music started, I knew this was Baldur's Gate.
And then it made me realize we haven't heard anything about the new Dragon Age in ages, and I'm really sad.
They released a new trailer the other day.
Did it actually show anything, or was like the last trailer drop where it was just the fucking title and it zoomed out?
No, it was an actual trailer from the game. Like it was an actual like pre-rendered cutscene from the game.
Where you guys talk
discussing like it's like a minute long, and it's just Varric discussing Soulless. Like not exactly interesting, but
you guys talk.
Alex, I know you've a history with the Divinity Original Sin series. Are you excited for Baldur's Gate 3?
No.
No, really?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I have a history with Divinity series. Like I only played.
Yeah, I thought you enjoyed it.
No, I did, but like it's more fun with people.
Mm.
I did finish it on my own, and it was kind of just for me. Like I did enjoy it, but like
he just enjoys torturing hands, you know.
It is fun messing with people, yeah.
We get a brand new trailer for Diablo 4, which confirms a 6th of June release date. Obviously, strangeness in about this, because obviously, I think mere hours before the Game Awards, it was announced that the FTC would be attempting to block the Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger. So, I think maybe there was some... People were expecting this to be here, and we're talking about it, but I think any announcement of Diablo 4 will now be overshadowed of, is this merger going to happen or not? Well, three of us anyway have history with Diablo. I'm excited for Diablo 4. There's definitely been a lot of positive talk about Diablo 4 from previews that went out shortly before the Game Awards. I don't know about IY or Alex, what your feelings are, given Blizzard's current state these days.
I'm just sad that they actually seem to be, like, doing good shit with their games now. It's really sad. Like, now that we're in a position where, like, you know, I don't really want to give Blizzard money. I need more money that they've already taken from me over the years, right?
And that's why it sucks about the Microsoft stuff, because now they won't be included in Game Pass, and you might actually have to buy them.
Yeah, it's like, don't get me wrong. Like, in terms of like game stuff, like it actually looks genuinely very good. I think it's really cool that what they've done, and I thought that presentation was very cool as well. But yeah, it's...
Oh yeah, they actually had like a live music thing. I completely forgot.
But yeah, it's like morals, guys.
Blizzard.
Yeah.
Ethically, you're on the fence.
Yeah.
Is that a new series we're doing? Ethically on the fence.
Ethical on the fence.
We got a trailer for some DLC for Horizon Forbidden West called The Burning Shores, following up kind of similar to...
if ever your shores are burning, make sure you go see a doctor right away.
Zero Dawn got its... I think it's called The Frozen Wilds, its DLC. So I imagine this will add a whole new area, which they showed would be set in like LA. And it's coming this April. We got a trailer for Remnant 2, a sequel to Remnant from the Ashes, which I know Alex and myself, we really enjoyed that first game. Pretty cool to see it getting a sequel. It's like essentially a third-person shooter, like roguelike type thing. You've been playing that as well with Bungie fairly recently, haven't you?
Yeah. It's like a Souls game that actually was designed for multiplayer.
We got a trailer for Transformers Reactivate. This was a fucking weird trailer. If you showed me this trailer and it didn't have a title card, I would have never have guessed it was a Transformers game.
Yeah.
I think we were all surprised when the Transformers name came up.
But we don't know what it is, right? Like,
there was no. This is like its first reveal or anything.
I don't know.
It like looked hyper realistic. Like it looked like almost like a military game type thing. And then it suddenly, like, the camera panned down and you saw like a robot flexing its fist from the first person perspective, and then it just said Transformers. And then I think collectively all of us went, I think it's cool. I think it's...
Did Bungie get excited thinking it was that game that he loves?
No, a bunch of
I
them
don't know.
watch it.
No, but she wasn't there.
I think it's cool. I think it's a weird, cool new direction to take Transformers. It's just
I can't wait,
like,
Nick. Right?
maybe show us a Transformer in that trailer.
No, I'm telling you, like what we saw, man, as you said, was a hand and an arm. Thus, it's a
Mhm.
VR game.
Ah, you're right.
Yeah.
We got a trailer for Banishers, the new game from Don't Nod, the Life is Strange developers. They described it as an action RPG, so probably a lot more similar to the likes of Vampire than Life is Strange. Alex, are you excited?
Let's hope it's not too much like Vampire for everyone's sake.
But you love Don't Nod.
Well, I like is Strange. Well, I love Life is Strange. I don't love Vampire.
So really, this is it. Like this game decides whether or not you actually like the company.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
They said I thought this was very weird at the end of the trailer that they described the release date as, quote, end of 2023. I thought that was just a really weird way of phrasing that.
Instead of like holidays 2023.
Yeah, like holidays or winter or Q4 or whatever. You say end of 2023 seemed a bit weird to me.
It's being released on New Year's Eve.
Yep. Literally the very end.
Yeah, the last day of 2023.
We got a new trailer for Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which showed off some gameplay and confirmed still it is on track to come out next year. I know you're excited.
Yeah, like I said, I'm excited for a perfectly average shooter. But like, man, Warhammer fans, like, of which I'm not really one, but like, I'm not actually a serious one, but like Sonic fans and Digimon fans, they get some pretty trashy games. Like overall, on
But
average,
hey, they eating good
yeah, yeah. So
between Dark Tide and this.
yeah, so I'm hoping it'll be at least fun. Maybe not amazing, but like at least fun.
Like that first game was like a bit of a sleeper hit. Like people,
It was, yeah.
it was not a massive AAA game. No one expected it to be, but it was a solid B game that people enjoyed. And I would imagine this one will probably fill a similar niche. It was at this point that the roof opened up and Crash Bandicoot descended from the heavens. And I was horrified.
That Crash.
Literally crashing through the roof.
He's do you remember
Crash is much taller than I thought it would be in real life.
But you don't remember years ago, everyone was like, man, we should all give Crash a second chance. He's getting a second chance.
Well, like
He already had it.
Yeah. He's had multiple chances. They released
That's
a
what I'm
new-
saying, yeah. But
Yeah.
he's in the middle of his second. I think it was like when Uncharted 4 got released because he was like,
Yeah,
there was
like
actually a bit where you play
at the
that
start of
game.
that game. You play Crash as Nathan Drake.
And like everyone was like, oh man, we should really give Crash a second chance. And like he's literally getting all his second, like between the remaster and then the Crash 4, and now that like Crash is back, baby. Why is no one excited about this?
But Hans, are you excited for Crash Team Rumble, which looks like a
I'm
Crash
not going to
MOBA?
play that game.
It looks like a Crash Bandicoot MOBA.
I thought it was more like a I was going to say like a Rocket League, but it's not Rocket League, if that makes sense. Like a sports game.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
All I know is
It's
that it's not
not.
Crash, and it's not the racing game, and it's not the party game.
Because I said this to you like I know, Alex, like because they obviously did like the remaster / remake of Crash Team Racing. So I actually thought that's what they were about to announce was, oh, we're going to do the same, but for Crash Bash, which was like the Mario Party one. But no, this is apparently a new thing. It's called Crash Team Rumble. It didn't really say what it was. It's just it exists.
It's a battle royale.
Crash Bandicoot now
It's a-
is 8 foot
Back.
tall.
He's back.
8 foot tall and jacked as fuck. We got the announcement trailer of Crime Boss Rockay City.
What the fuck is this?
This was the most ridiculous cast I have ever seen in a video game. Chuck Norris is in this game, guys.
Yeah, Sue's Vanilla Ice. What's your point? What the fuck is it?
It looked like it was a first-person shooter. As I discovered today while claiming my free games on Epic, this game is already 40% off on Epic. It's not even out yet, but it's already 40% off.
Oof.
So obviously they don't have high hopes for it. Yeah, it looks like a first-person shooter. maybe, I don't know if it was open world or not, but has like a fairly prolific cast of Hollywood actors in it, including, as I said, Chuck Norris, Michael Madsen, someone else, the other people, Michael Rooker, Danny Trejo. Looked like a heist type thing.
So it's pretty much all these like B film stars, like not quite A-lister tier, but like all the B tier Hollywood stars.
Coming
and
out
Vanilla
March.
Ice.
And Vanilla Ice, yes. Coming out March 28th. Yeah, sure. We got a trailer for Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, the DLC, with the announcement that Idris Elba will be playing a character in the DLC.
I was not sold on this until Idris Elba
Of course.
and I was just like, yes, I am on board. I'm going to have Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves in a game. Yeah, sign me the fuck up. You son of a bitch, I'm in.
Weren't you just complaining the other day that they were releasing a Game of the Year edition?
That does annoy me, but this doesn't.
I have written here releases 2033, but I don't think that's right. I'm assuming I meant to write 2023.
Joking aside, my man crush on Idris Elba aside, I don't know what to think about this. Like, so the trailer, it looks cool. I think the new area that they seem to be highlighting is a bit more deserty and that's kind of, I think it's kind of interesting. I think the story will be cool. I do think Cyberpunk's story was very good, but it's just technically, and because of how the initial release of the game was, I'm just like, technically, what is this going to be like? Are they just going to fall into the same trap again?
Well, as someone who has went back to Cyberpunk fairly recently, and started off from scratch, I've played it whenever when Edge Runners came out, because Edge Runners piqued my interest again. They have done a lot of work to that game. There are whole new systems in that game that were not there at release. They have overhauled a lot of the RPG stuff and how that works, and they are obviously very dedicated to getting that to a point, getting that game to where they believe it should be. And I think they have gone a long way in doing that. Technically, yes, it's still not great. I think it's still a bit rough around the edges in places, but again, that is also something they have improved. Hopefully they have learned their lesson. Hopefully they have. I don't think they would be pushing this or announcing this or getting ready to release this if they weren't happy with where the game was. Because I think if they tried to release the game and a month or two later with no improvements or anything had announced, oh, we're doing a DLC, I think it would have went back in their faces and everyone just would have been like, what the fuck? Whereas I feel like they have, yes, they should not have released the game in the state it was in, but I feel like they have got back a lot of that goodwill and they have worked hard to get back to where they feel like they should be in that game, and I commend them for that, which is why I feel like they've probably learned their lesson about the way they wanted to release that game, and I assume this will release fine. Maybe it'll have technical issues because every game has technical issues these days.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll feel as half-baked as Cyberpunk kind of did on release. So our final major new reveal of the evening was Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, a new Armored Core game, mainline Armored Core game, I think, since 2008 or 9 maybe.
Oh, wow, you were way in the Armored Core, weren't you?
Dude, I fucking loved Armored Core.
So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How erect were you when you saw this trailer and it was an Armored Core game?
So to be fair though, I'd already heard that this was going to be a thing. So it was more just oh, so this is actually going to be a thing. But I think what was more interesting was, I think Nick's going to mention it here about how it is from software.
Yeah.
So
so I think that when this was revealed last night, we talked about Armored Core when it was big. You're talking I think maybe Demon Souls was out, but Dark Souls wasn't a thing. Bloodborne wasn't a thing. Souls games were not a thing when the last Armored Core came out. From Software didn't have a reputation when the last Armored Core game came out. And even in this very trailer, there are pretty heavy allusions towards Dark Souls, the way they say the fire fades. like talking about
cinders and stuff,
things like that. Those are phrases lifted directly from Dark Souls, major phrases lifted directly from Dark Souls. And obviously, Armored Core, when it was released, was not a Souls-like in any way, shape, or form. It was a mission-based mech combat game. A very good one, but a mission-based mech combat game. So it will be very interesting to see what sort of game this will be. Are they planning to make another Armored Core game? Or are they planning to make a Souls-like with mechs?
They're going to make a Souls-like with mechs. Absolutely, I would bet my testy on that.
See, whenever I fucking dodge roll through a building, right, as a giant robot, man, it's gonna be so sick.
I think this was a very good trailer. It was a very atmospheric trailer. Obviously shows nothing about what the game will be, but it's an announcement trailer. They generally don't. I just think this is one of the most intriguing games to me, just for that fact, in that this is a very different From Software that released the previous Armored Core game.
I just don't see them coming away from what they've been doing.
Having looked it up, Armored Core 5 came out a year after Dark Souls.
Oh, was it? Okay. So in theory, that's fair. I will say yes, but I'm imagining that it was probably not the Souls-like team that was making it.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't these. And is Miyazaki even the director of AC5? That's I don't think he. And I don't know whether he's the director of AC6 either. Is the thing. So
no, it was Naoki Takahashi was the director of Armored Core 5.
So whether he's now taking the lead on this, obviously Elden Ring has shipped. They're probably doing DLC, but whether he needs to be the director of that DLC, probably not. He can be just a creative consultant and writing whatever he needs to do. But yeah, this is a very different From Software that launched than the one that launched the previous Armored Core game. So to see what kind of game this ends up being will be very, very intriguing.
I will say though, from my knowledge, I remember Armored Core trailers always actually look really sick, but the games never look anything like that. But in like a big way as well. So
I tend to remember a lot of very sparse environments in Armored Core.
Yeah, exactly.
Of just a lot of flat terrain with the occasional very square building.
So, but yeah, we're in this new age, Hopefully,
yeah. We're now 14 years removed, 13 years removed from the last Armored Core game or the last mainline one. So
yeah, I do feel like let's call it giant mecha games. Definitely benefit from just more tech.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like Earth Defense Force as well. More ants.
But they even not even that, but also from particle stuff, because of the way that buildings get destroyed and all big things look great with newer technology.
Yeah, it'll be interesting anyway.
Yeah, so that's coming next year. No firm release date, but I'm sure we'll hear more. I imagine it'll be late next year-ish, probably September, October-ish. But our final trailer of the evening was for Final Fantasy 16. Yoshi P himself was there to hype up the trailer and also announce that the Final Fantasy 16 will release on the 22nd of June.
For PS5.
Yes, for PS5. Which kind of lines up with the idea that, yes, there was a lot of talk that we'll get this by mid-year and then the part 2 of the Final Fantasy 7 remake by holiday next year.
And this holiday next year for PC.
Feel a bit of salt there, Alex.
I am so salty.
Whoa. I want the record to show that, Alex, you haven't even played Remake yet.
Yeah, but I would have when it came out.
Well, then, why don't you buy a PS5?
I'm not buying a PS5.
I get a VR headset to go with it.
It took you so long to get around to Final Fantasy 15, even though the PC version had been out for ages.
Yeah, but I didn't have the hype for it, which I should have, because Final Fantasy 15 is an amazing game.
So yeah, in terms of the trailer, not really a lot new in the trailer, I don't think, compared to what's been in the previous ones. Maybe a bit more extended clips of what looks like the gameplay, but still kind of leaning on that medieval dark fantasy type thing, and this idea of the the summons or icons almost being weapons of war.
Did I see 2 Efforts? I feel like I saw 2 Efforts.
Oh yeah, there was definitely 2 Efforts at one point. Yes.
So that's kind of what I'm kind of curious in terms of the story. Like, so like, is it
It's like Pokemon, you know. There's more than one Charmander. You know.
Actually, do you know what I was thinking? Actually, it's more like Attack on Titan.
I thought you were gonna say yes. You're right. It was like Pokemon.
You're right. You nailed it. No, it's like Attack on Titan. Like how, like, you know, someone can be like have the same soul of like, say, the Charger Titan. And then it kind of made me go like,
not Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan. There's only one. The whole idea is there's only one of each of the Inheritor Titans.
No, because like there's not 2 Colossus Titans.
Spoiler, man! I haven't watched the.
Sorry, spoilers.
In the same way, he hasn't played Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know, he's getting there, right?
It's not out in PC yet, man. It's.
But anyway, what I'm saying is, it made me realize that actually, like, a dark fantasy about kind of warring nations and like young predecessors and stuff. I was kind of like, I did kind of get notes of maybe some Attack on Titan from it, just with like the whole transforming into like, you know.
I just assumed they were digivolving.
How many other animes can we reference?
I mean, did any of them play their trap card?
A trap means something very different in certain animes.
I will say I think maybe it's because I like 9 so much, but I actually really like the idea of these summons being weapons of war. Because I agree, Nick,
and I really hate 9.
Yeah, but like that is one of my favorite parts of 9 is seeing the legitimate catastrophic effects of these summons when they are used by people. And like to see them, they set up like the idea that yes, they seem to be like nations are warring over control of the people who
in control of them,
in control or like possessed by these icons, which I think is really cool.
You should play Type 0 then, because they would do quite a lot of that too. I will say though, and it kind of made me realize that like I seem to prefer Final Fantasy games whenever they're set in like the more futuristic versions. Like I prefer 7 to 9. Not that I don't think 9's bad, but like, I prefer 7 to 9 and I love 15, you know. And so I'm kind of like, I'm still...
Please, Alex, no one likes 13.
So I'm just very... I'm still kind of hesitant going into it. I just like, because I think 15 has such big shoes to fill from 15, you know, like I love 15. So I'm just really, I don't know. I feel like I can't get as hyped for it as I want to be.
I actually think I'm in the same boat as Hans, but for different reasons. I think I can't get as hyped because I'm not going to be traveling around as a boy band anymore. Right? Like I bet I'm willing to bet on this, right? That I bet I will not care about the characters as much as I care about them in 15.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things. Don't get me wrong, I really didn't care about most of the characters in 15, but the crew, the boys, you know,
I kind of feel like it might end up being the inverse of 15, where like
it's gonna be all the side.
We'll not care about the characters, but I think the story itself will be far more interesting.
Yeah, so I suppose that's what's gonna happen.
15 was very much the characters were the focal point, but the story was very lackluster. Then we come to the end of the show and the award of the Game of the Year. Our nominees, I feel like I go through the nominees because this is the big one, were, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, God of War, sorry, I'll go in order that's here, A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And yes, Elden Ring took it home. I'm not going to disagree with that, obviously. But out of the ones that were there, it probably would have been the one that I would have voted for anyway. I love Ragnarok, but I think I said to you when we were doing it, I think my issue with Ragnarok is I don't feel like it innovates enough. It tells a very good continuation of a story, but gameplay-wise, I don't think it refines enough or innovates enough to be as good as the first game to me, but people have different opinions.
I feel like that's what I'm going to say about Hades 2. Whenever that comes out. I bet it's going to be like, it's the same thing, which is great, but yeah.
No, like, I think a lot of people assumed this would be the case. I think everyone assumed it would be between God of War or Elden Ring. Whereas, so I think
Yeah. Plague Tale didn't win anything.
He didn't win anything.
Yeah.
Just
That's
nominated
what's
for a bunch.
sad about it. Like,
it's because God of War won like 90% of
I
the
know.
awards.
I think 6 or 7 got no awards.
Yeah.
Ragnarok won.
It was nominated for like 9 or 10 things and won, I think, 6 or 7. Yeah.
I do find it interesting
Um,
that Xenoblade is here, just generally.
Yeah.
You say that, but the fact Stray is there, I like Stray, but Game of the Year, like a game that's like 5 hours long. I like that. Like that got me. I was like, okay, sure.
That's like I appreciate that. Even last year, like It Takes Two won. I don't think any of us would have put It Takes Two as our game of the year, but I also appreciate that It Takes Two did very innovative things, and
especially since one of the parents didn't die. Now, if one of the parents died, then it would have been Game of the Year.
That should have been Impact Game of the Year.
Yeah.
If one of the parents died.
Wait a minute.
Now you're talking.
You had Cutesy the Elephant. We already had the impactful part in that game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like it's not like it. Like if I wouldn't have been surprised if Stray won because, like, it's not like there hasn't been kind of out of left field winners at the Game Awards before. So would Stray have been up there if I was making a short list of 6 games? Probably not. But I also wouldn't have been surprised to see it, especially when you consider that some of this was fan voted. That was the Game Awards. Another successful Game Awards for Geoff Keighley. Excited to see. I think this was maybe the best one that has been for a while. I think cutting it down by a decent chunk of time helped it a lot, and they kept a decent pace of things despite a overly long Christopher Judge acceptance speech. But other than that, I don't think anything overstayed its welcome. And I'm excited to see what's coming for 2023. So out of all that, even outside, I think this is a good place to be like, yo, it's the end of the year. What are you guys excited for next year? Game-wise? Hans?
I'm going to bring up 2023 in gaming.
I have updated the Notion with any announcements from this. Obviously some things don't have
I'd rather
dates,
use
so
the
they're not
proper
in there.
website.
Oh,
Okay, that's fair.
Jeez.
What am I excited? DBZ Kakarot coming to next gen consoles. Yeah.
Did you even?
Is there anything that hasn't been released on? Hogwarts Legacy. I know it wasn't announced here today.
Apparently it got booed. It was in one of the categories, and when it was read out, it got booed.
It was like most anticipated, I think, wasn't it? Or under
So-
the most anticipated game.
Someone raised a really good point, which is it is okay to understand why people are upset about this game because of its creators' history of bigotry and whatnot, but the people who have worked on this game
Yeah,
don't deserve.
Yeah.
Don't deserve that. And I kind of agree with that. Yes, J.K. Rowling and her opinions are garbage, but the people who are working on this game, and the literature itself, it's not like I don't feel like it's fair on them to boo this, because at the end of the day, that's like I can't even describe what that's like. But you know what I mean? Like the people who are working on this, it's a job to them, and they probably also really care about this. So don't boo that because you're booing the people who have worked hard on it. Boo J.K. Rowling. Make that win Games for Impact next year, just to really piss her off. Other games looking forward to: Atomic Heart. There was a trailer for that. I'm looking forward to that. It kind of looks like BioShock meets Fallout in a certain way. So I'm interested to give that a go. I'm just going to quick fire some of these.
Jedi Survivor, Diablo 4.
I'm looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3 as well, actually. I really like Larian Studios and I like the Divinity games. So seeing what they can do with a Baldur's Gate now, especially since it's been like early access for so long, I'm also really excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, I think if I was to grab 3 games or pick 3 games out of thin air about kind of what I'm most excited for, it'd probably be Jedi Survivor, the Breath of the Wild sequel, and probably Final Fantasy 16 in terms of things that
What's the Breath of the Wild sequel called now?
Tears of the Kingdom.
Is it?
Yeah. Because Geoff Keighley said it during the show.
Did he clarify?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he
straight up said Tears of the Kingdom. Official confirmation.
Should let either Doug Bowser or Reggie say it.
In terms of what actually has release dates, obviously I'm still kind of like looking forward to stuff like, I think Redfall has the potential to be really cool. I think Starfield has the potential to be really cool. Spider-Man 2 is still scheduled for 2023.
Dead Island 2.
Alright, Hans, calm down. He said, "What are you most looking forward to?" Not what you're most.
I'm most looking forward to see how that mentally affects you having to play that game.
I don't have to play that game.
I can't wait to pick it for Game Club.
Don't do that to me, please.
Alex, anything for you guys?
I guess this like stuff just generally next year.
Just next year in general.
Wild Hearts.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
The not Monster Hunter
Monster
game.
Hunter, yeah.
I think that might be interesting. And there's a bunch of games that I'm curious and hopeful for, like Fire Emblem Engage and Blood Bowl 3. but yeah, and it's just a bunch of the games that I think were mentioned today, like Street Fighter 6 and stuff like that. So there is actually quite a lot coming out, I will say, actually.
Oh yeah. Alex, what were you?
Oh, Hogwarts, Star Wars, and Diablo. Diablo, just to see if it's going to be part of Game Pass or not, mainly.
I would say probably not, just because of this potentially being blocked.
Yeah.
Like, I think they had hoped to close the deal in time for something like Diablo coming out, but
I mean, it's still possible. It depends how long.
Still possible. It would take a very quick court case for it to go through.
It could be just a case of they're starting to get concessions on record.
Yeah, possibly.
So it could be like a couple days. So.
Yeah. But I feel like that wraps us up for today, unless anyone has anything else to bring up.
I played none of the Game of the Year nominees, so my opinion does not matter, because clearly I don't have a taste in video games.
Apparently neither did the judges. They picked Elden Ring as Game of the Year.
Oof.
That leads us on nicely towards the end. Look forward to our Game of the Year videos going out at the end of the year. But for now,
start of the year.
End of the year. Start of the year.
Maybe the first or second week in January.
Our top 5 or top 4 in Hans's case.
Get fucked, Nick. Get fucked.
Can't believe you love Far Cry 6 that much.
Oh, it angers me that is now officially my 5th best game. Oh.
But for now, goodbye from Hans.
Fuck Far Cry 6.
Goodbye from Alex.
Bye.
Goodbye from IY.
See ya.
And goodbye from myself. Chat to you next time.